Okay, hello everybody. This is John Meadows. I'm currently in preparation for the 2013 Masters Nationals, and that is all I have on the calendar for this year. I want to talk a little bit about our leg workout we did today. We started with a leg curl variation, which those of you who are familiar with my training style, you know that I like to do that 80-90% of the time. So we did some standing leg curls, real strict form, pyramided up, and then we did a pretty nasty drop set. And at the end of the drop set, we were doing partials where you stand up straight, you make sure your leg is fully stretched, and you literally just move the weight maybe 2 inches to work the bottom of your hamstring. Very, very good movement to put blood in your hamstring from top to bottom. So from there we moved on to the leg press, and really the leg press today wasn't meant to be ball busting. It was really just to get some good blood going in the quads. We just did sets of 20. We didn't do anything extremely heavy. It was all continuous tension, so you won't see any locking out. You'll see more of a pumping style that we used, again, just to drive as much blood in there as we could. From there, we moved on to the leg extension. And if you look closely on the first couple sets, you'll see that I had my toes curled back toward me in the locked out position. And what I was trying to do there is just put a little more emphasis on my rectus femoris. That's just right in the middle of the top of your quad. I tend to be a little teardrop and sweep dominant, so down by my knee and on the sides of my legs, that rectus femoris area, it doesn't have the separation that I want it to have. So I've been putting a little bit more work into that lately, and when you pull your toes back like that, you can really feel it contract hard. So we were doing some good hard reps where we were pausing and flexing hard, doing those. And then we finished off with some heavier weight, and I actually had my toes pointed down, and I was doing partials out of the bottom, and that was for teardrop. So that moved the tension to the bottom of our quad. I love doing partials on leg extensions. I love doing flex and hold at the top. Really good pre-exhaust type movement. That was pretty fatiguing on the quads. And then we went to front squats. Front squats is not a movement that I typically do. I like to squat with either a regular bar or a safety squat bar or even a cambered bar. Those three bars are my favorite. But about a month ago I tweaked my lower back, actually doing lightweight. Wasn't even doing anything heavy. So I kind of backed off when I'm doing some front squats right now with a little bit lighter weight. There's a little, the funny thing too is the front squats I can get a lot deeper on. And you elevate your heels. You'll see I have a little 2x4 under my heels. And you would think that would put a little more pressure on your lower back going deeper, but in a front squat, for me personally, it doesn't seem to bother my lower back. But doing those after the leg extensions really hammer your quads. That's a good combination. It's a good pre-exhaust. And then after, and I should say too, on the front squats, we just pyramided up. I believe we were doing sets of 8. And the goal was to get nice and deep, get a good full range of motion. And from there, we moved on to hack squats. And today on the hack squat, I actually had my heels really close together and a little bit lower on the platform, if you've ever seen me do those before. More of kind of that's more of what Tom Platz used to do. He put his feet together a little bit lower on the platform. You certainly won't mistake my quads for his, but I was really using his style today, and for something a little different. And we're doing a lot of reps, sets of 25, and then we worked up to sets of 20. We used a pretty heavy weight, and those were also rock bottom, real deep. And the last set was really hard because I moved my feet a little bit lower even on the platform. So, You know, hack squats, I think, are an awesome exercise. The problem is there are a lot of hack squats out there that I'm not sure who built them, but it wasn't somebody who actually lifts weights. You know, they can be really hard on your knees. Fortunately, here at this gym, we have a great hack squat where, as long as you're not doing something stupid, it'll, you know, they feel really, really good on your legs. You don't feel any knee pain. So I guess my point is I love hack squats, but you got to be kind of got to be careful with the machine you're using. From there, we went and did some high rep leg curls again. We did some more of them. Now, I probably would have done some barbell stiff-legged deads, but my lower back is still a little tired. It's still a little fatigued, partially from the tweak I had about a month ago, and then it was a little tired today too from doing the deep hacks and the deep front squats. So I was a little cautious today and did more leg curls, and I think we went back to sets of 20 over there just to get even more blood in our hamstrings. And that, I'm not sure how many sets that was, but it was about an hour and 45 minutes of pounding there, so that was pretty good. And then we finished off with some just basic calf raises for our calves, and those, most of the time you'll see me superset those with tibia raises, where you'll see me just kind of pull my toes off the ground. I'll stand on one of those aerobic step benches with my heel and let my toes dangle off, and I'll just pull my toes up toward my knee and dorsiflex my foot and really get a good pump in my entire lower leg. Today, I didn't do that though. Dave here at Elite FTS, he just got a new calf machine. So I really wanted to just use that by itself and see how it felt. So you'll see in the video, that's a brand new calf machine we have here. And that is probably the best calf machine I've ever been on. It was awesome. Really, really good calf machine. So on that one, we just kept pyramiding up, sets of 10, 15 reps, good full range of motion. And then toward the end, I like to throw in some heavy sets where maybe you can't get all the way up, but you still work the stretch and you still work some partials out of the bottom. If you think about it, you're walking around all the time, so your calves are used to, kind of standing up, supporting weight from a flat-footed position. But what your calves don't get is work out of a stretched position. So I've always thought that really, if you want to get bigger calves, you should really focus on that stretch position. I know you'll hear a lot of people talk about standing up on your toes and flexing, which is great. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying don't forget the stretch at the bottom, a nice controlled stretch, because that's what your calves aren't used to. That's what they don't do every day in life. So after that was it. We wrapped it up and called it a day. So today was I'd say about a 2-hour workout, and that was it.
Okay, John. So tell us a little bit about your mountain dog training style. I mean, you have just, in the industry these past few years, have kind of just exploded and doing diets and stuff. And, I know Shelby Stearns uses a lot of your stuff. And just tell us a little bit about it and what your basis is behind it.
Yeah, so the training really has evolved over the years, and it continues to evolve as I learn more. A lot of the people that have been with me for a long time, and they'll tell you the same thing, that 3 years ago I was doing something different, and a year later I was doing something different, and so I'm trying to always fine-tune it. I'm trying to improve constantly. I'm always building new programs based on what I'm learning. So it's not something where I consider it complete and done and perfected. I'm going to be trying to perfect it until the day I die. But it's pretty humbling to know that it's grown so much in popularity. I think right now I have 11 or 12 pros that I work with, and I know I'm going to eat my words for saying this, but I've yet to have someone who did the training that was a pro actually stop. They usually just renew, which is cool. I like that. It means I must be doing something right. But if I could really boil it down, and I wrote about this, but if I could really boil down the philosophy, I think I could pretty much say it this way. For most body parts, there's 4 phases, and there's a phase where you're doing a movement that pumps a lot of blood into the muscle, And it's a low-risk exercise, for chest, for example. You might do a dumbbell press to start with instead of a barbell press. A bench press with a barbell is what I would call a high-risk exercise. So there's kind of a safety component to it, to getting blood in the muscles first and straining your muscles instead of your tendons and ligaments. It's not pure pre-exhaust. To me, pure pre-exhaust would be doing a set of, let's say, like pec deck flies before bench. Where you're not using your triceps and delts as much. That's what I would call pure pre-exhaust. This is a little different. It's using movements where you can get a lot of blood in the muscle. And the other piece of that is, your nutrition has to match your training style. And my training style is pretty voluminous. And I believe in putting certain nutrients in your body and constantly and continuing to put them in you as you train. And those first sets, I start drinking my drink right before I train, so those first sets are also serving a purpose just to get nutrients into muscle cells. So kind of a dual purpose. And then so you'll get a really good pump. Your joints will be nice and warmed up. And then we move to a basic exercise. It might be squats, for example, would be a second exercise. Or if we were doing chest, it might be an incline barbell press. And on those, I like to use accommodating resistance when I can. I know not everybody out there can haul chains around to the gym and things like that, but I'm just telling you, that's what I like to do. I don't do it all the time by any stretch, but it's a great tool. Flattens out the strength curve. Typically you'll have a part of the range of motion where you're strong and a part where you're weak. I like to have constant, the highest level of contractile tension that I can get throughout the whole range of motion, and that helps you do that. So to me, it makes, people see like a band, for instance, and they'll say, well, that's making it easier. No, the way I'm using it, it's actually making it harder because it's flattening out that strength curve, and there is no, once you get past the hard part, it's easy. It's hard from the time you start the weight moving until the time you flex. Like, let's say you have bands on a chest press, for example. You start at the bottom and it's heavy. Typically when you lock out, it gets a little easier, but with a band, it kicks in more tension and it makes it even harder. So that's kind of an example. And then a third exercise, or a third phase, is really where I try to just maximize the amount of blood flow and just really go all out for pump. We don't know all of the mechanisms that a pump makes you bigger, but we know that if there's enough mechanical tension and if there's enough nutrients in your body, we know that a pump is a very good thing. So we try to, that's where you're going to see us throw in drop sets and even more partials and really just going for broke, trying to get as much blood in there as you can. And then the way we usually finish is, a fourth phase would be something where your muscles are getting more of a full range of motion and they're stretching more. So